What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Bets and Run Pure Sports. Going for a little later start time. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. And that's so I could bring in Tyler. We could be contentious. And I knew Tyler was going to bully me today, we've had some problems. He was right in game one. So I had to bring in the backup. That's Mr. Titletown, live from Milwaukee. He will be at the Deer District, and we are ready to go. Tyler, we'll start with you. Do the Suns continue to win tonight?
Unless Coach Bud's got some magical adjustment he's going to make, I don't know how they win. Unless they just go out there and rain home their threes. Because we all know they're going to run that pick and roll. They're going to look for those switches. And Chris Paul and Booker are just going to target these guys that are slow on their feet.
Yeah, and that was kind of painful as a Bucks backer to watch in game one. Title, we were talking about it right before we started. Let's get right back into it. What adjustments do the Bucks and Coach Budenholzer need to make in order to cover or possibly win tonight?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear what they have to do. We've been talking about it for most of these series too. Brook Lopez, when Giannis is healthy, Brook Lopez and Giannis do not play well together. They clog up the lane on offense. And the big thing is defense, as Tyler already said. The Suns didn't even have to run any offensive sets really until the fourth quarter because it was literally a simple pick and roll. The Bucks weren't even fighting over. They were automatically switching every screen. And then, Chris Paul and Devin Booker on Brook Lopez is barbecue chicken every single time down the court. If they then they drive by him, they help defense. They have Bridges. They have Crowder, who Crowder didn't make a lot of shots, but he's not going to shoot like that every game. They have Cam Johnson. The Suns are a very good basketball team, but it makes it even easier when Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, for that matter. I'd rather Bobby Portis instead of Brook Lopez, but their best lineup is without Brook and Bobby, and it's with Pat out there instead, where they can switch 1 through 5, and they gave the Suns problems when they did do that. They went on a run. Offense is still fine with Giannis at the 5. The big question is, so I don't think Bud's going to switch the starting lineup. I'm very, very confident that there's no way he does that. The big question is, does he wait till the fourth quarter again to then play their best lineup? Or do they do the second quarter, fourth quarter, where they play the small ball 8 minutes in the second, 8 minutes, 9 minutes in the fourth? And if they do that, I do think the Bucks have a good chance. The Suns are still a very good basketball team, but Chris Paul and Devin Booker aren't going to get as many easy open shots without Brook Lopez on the court, because it's not going to be all ISO ball. So it's all up to Coach Bud, which is not a good sign for the Bucks, because we don't want it in Coach Bud's hands.
And once again, I'll be the one who says that Coach Bud is more maligned than he deserves credit for, right? Is he Red Auerbach? No, he's not, right? But they seem to make adjustments pretty well, because they seem to lose every single game one. And that's why I was pissed at myself when I was messaging Tyler, like I should have known, because one thing to say is they will run their base game plan in game one, and then they'll switch it up. But, for Title and I, something that we can be happy about, in game one against Atlanta, right? Trey went for 48. Did he have a game like that for the rest of the series? No. What did he do in the first one? He attacked Lopez in the drop pick and roll, right? They seem to switch off that, right? And as the series went by, gets longer, he uses his better lineups more. So I almost feel like he's keeping the ace card in the sleeve, and he's waiting to bust it out there. So I do have a little bit of.
Yeah, my question, everything you said is 100% right. But what are you waiting for? It's the NBA Finals. You got to win 4 games. Because everyone, I was screaming at it since the first quarter. They ran like 3 times in a row. They just went right to Brook every time. Yeah. Everyone in the world was seeing it. Like, why are you waiting? Like, right away, send in your small unit. Chris Middleton got hot. The Bucks went on runs and kept it close for majority of the time. If they ran their best unit out there from late quarter one and the rest of the game, Bucks could be up 1-0 in this series. Like, I get it. But it's the NBA Finals. So I totally agree with you saying Bucks have struggled game one every time, because it seems like Coach Bud can't make in-game adjustments. And then after game one, people might be telling them, and they're finally realizing what adjustment to make. So totally agree with everything you're saying. I'll
go ahead and agree with you a bit too. I think that one of his mistakes is he gets too manly, and I think he feels like he wants to play his way, and establish the run or whatever
Yeah,
would
I know what you
work,
mean.
right? Even if it's not the most optimal game plan. So let's see if it goes back tonight. So hey, my major concern though in backing the Bucks here was I thought Giannis was fairly effective in transition though. Seemed to lack the explosion that he usually does, right? Did you see that as well, Title? And how do we account for that?
See, I actually thought Giannis looked a million times better than what I expected, which was another very good sign I thought for the Bucks. Coming out of game one, and like way different than the Nets. I think I'm more confident in the Bucks being able to to win the finals than I was actually coming into it, because Giannis, there was no way he was ever doubtful, the questionable. It didn't look like, because he came out aggressive. That chase down block. His dunk, his chase down block. You could tell he's playing hard. The cardio was the main thing that it seemed. And that's been a thing with Giannis. Later in the games, later in series, you can tell hands on the knees. Breathing hard, because he just plays all out every time. I'm not concerned with the explosiveness, or knee rather, more so than just like his cardio. But I think every day that gets better. I actually feel really good about Giannis, and I think he dominates this series for the Bucks. And if the Bucks have any chance to win, it's going to be him. But I'm going to ride him every single game in DFS when we get there and stuff. He's going to be a staple in all my lineups. I actually liked what I saw from Giannis a lot. The one quarter he didn't show up was the third quarter. And that's when Chris Paul took over and the Brook Lopez and stuff. And the third quarter buried the Bucks. Other than that quarter, you take that out, it was a pretty close game the whole time.
The last 2 minutes of the second quarter were really bad too.
And
they had a chance to go in only down by 5 or 6, and I think they ended up going down by 12.
I think they went down by 8. It was like 2 they went, but no, that was a bad ending too. And then they went to the third. But you take out that Giannis wasn't aggressive at all in the third. Whereas first quarter he looked really good. Middleton got hot late. I think there is a lot of good things to look for the Bucks. But at the end of the day too, this Suns team's a very good basketball team, and they can make shots, they can play defense, they make adjustments better. It's good. It's a good series, but I feel good about what I saw from Giannis and his explosiveness. I think the cardio, if anything, was a little the concern, but I'm not too worried about that.
All right, Tyler. Title and I are building ourselves up. We're feeling good about our chances. Go ahead and crush our hopes and dreams. Break it down. What do you expect tonight?
Something else happened in that third quarter you guys didn't talk about.
What's that?
We talked about Coach Bud's in-game adjustments. He started the game with them guys. No, he started that game with the guys switching on every screen.
Yeah.
Well, in the third quarter, he said, screw the switching, and he left them guys out on an island. Mm-hmm. And then in the fourth quarter, he went to his small ball. He tried everything in his bag in game one. I don't know what else he can go to other than cross his fingers and open his three-point shooters, make his shots. Like their small ball.
The funny thing is the three-point shooting wasn't that bad. They're actually 44% from behind the arc, and then they're only 60% at the rim. I thought that killed them a little more, but yeah.
I think the free throws they need to increase too. Only shooting what, like 6 free throws?
And they only made 9 of them.
The whistle wasn't great. I will say that.
The whistle was not great.
It wasn't ridiculous. So sometimes we just assume that
they just didn't. They weren't aggressive.
Yeah, I thought the Suns did a good job. Booker had a couple calls that were like, oh, okay, that's being nice. But overall, I thought they definitely deserved to be at the free throw line more, because I felt that they were beating their man off the dribble more and getting into the rim.
It wasn't awful. I thought like Middleton, like body. There was body on the Bucks side that kind of went the other way in certain things. But no, it wasn't awful. The Suns make free throws too. The Bucks, Giannis, not necessarily. Sorry to interrupt you, Tyler, but
you're good. But the other thing, what was it? I lost train of thought.
You're talking about all the lineups they threw out. I think this is the best when you switch 1 through 5 with Giannis at the 5 and without Bobby and Brook. That's a good lineup. I mean, the rebounding's the big thing. Ayton will still get his, but it's better than a Chris Paul mid-range.
Yeah, you brought up Bobby Portis. Like, he's gonna have to play if they go small. He's got this bad habit of trying blitzing point guards all the way out at the half-court line. It's like not a great idea when they're a lot faster than you. They tried to put Pat Connaughton in there, and Chris Paul went right at him too. Forbes is going to have to play in this small ball lineup too. They'll go Forbes hunting if they have to, if Lopez ain't on the floor. So I just see a bunch of holes for the Bucks to where they're going to have to cover a lot of gaps if they want to win these games. And they also, when they were doing the switches early in the game, the moment that guy would start towards the hoop, the guys on the outside would kind of close in and help. You don't want to do that when you're running that switch defense. You just want to let that guy get the bucket, and then they kick it out to a wide open 3-point shooter. So it's just they got a lot of things they got to fix here.
I totally agree. My favorite lineup, I will say, is without Bobby and Brooke. It is with Pat. I mean, Pat's athletic. He gets beat sometimes off the dribble, but I mean, Bryn Forbes, he's going to get cooked pretty much every time. Bobby Portis, yeah, I mean, he's a little like, why was he guarding him 3 feet outside of the 3-point
Yeah, it's
line?
like, what are you doing? It's like back up. He's not going to shoot from out there.
Exactly, and he's. I would rather him out there than I would Forbes or a Brooke. But I think Pat's their best lineup out there. Pat's, I mean, he is like a 43-inch vertical. He is athletic. He'll get beat off the dribble once in a while, but I think the Middleton, Jrue, Pat, PJ Tucker, Giannis lineup is the best lineup for the Bucks. But I mean, you can't play that lineup 48 minutes. So I totally hear what you're saying. The Suns team's tricky.
Yeah, I agree.
Title. Big key to this game here, right? I mean, the Bucks gave up what? I don't even know how many first round picks or how much money to get Jrue Holiday, right? Yeah. You can't have another performance like that if they're going to have a chance. And he looked so good without Giannis on the floor in game 6 and 7. Seeing him back in game 1, bringing back memories of Eric Bledsoe. What is it about Giannis and a point guard where these guys, they lose all their aggressiveness when he's on the floor, then he leaves the floor and they have all this confidence? How do they get past that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. I wouldn't go to the extent of Eric Bledsoe because at least Jrue's always going to be a problem on defense. His competitiveness, like I would take a bad Jrue over Bledsoe any day, but you're 100% right. He has to have more than 10 points. I want Jrue to bring up the ball every single time, unless it's transition where it's Giannis or Middleton or that. But we see Giannis make some dumb passes. Middleton makes some really dumb passes where he forces stuff. When Jrue has the ball in his hands, I mean, he's very good when he sees a smaller man in the post. Brook Lopez when he is in, Bobby when he's in, even Giannis. In transition, they try and get the smaller defender on him, and Jrue throws the ball up to him, and good things happen every time they do that. Whereas Middleton sometimes forces it. Giannis sometimes forces it. Jrue needs to get Jrue going. I think he just has to have the ball in his hands more and to be the one bringing it up. And he just got to get that shot to fall. I mean, this guy is a very, very good basketball player. We've seen him put up 35 plus, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Like he has that in him. But yeah, I mean, he just has to show up. I'm reading that thing. Yes, title's right. Settle down's right. Comparing Jrue to Bledsoe.
He's using all the RPS lingo there, right?
Yeah.
Settle down. Very hurtful. Get this man a T-shirt.
Yeah, thank you, West Coast. I mean, I totally get what you are saying. If Bledsoe was on the Bucks,
I'm just saying that Bledsoe looked pretty effective. Like when Giannis would be off the floor in those 10 to 12 minutes where Bledsoe ran the offense, you're like, oh, this guy can score. And then he would just go back to being a nothing at the end of the game in crunch time when it mattered.
Yeah, I just hate Eric Bledsoe. So, I mean, I probably do have a little bias. I mean, and if the thing, if it was Bledsoe on the team instead of Jrue, some other team would be in the NBA Finals right now.
Oh, I agree with that too.
Yeah,
but where I'm going for this is I'm looking at a 19.5 right now. I know that we both like the Bucks to bounce back. Seems like they're correlated. If I do like the Bucks, do I go ahead and play this over 19.5? I can get it plus 100 at Bookmaker.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, Middleton can't do everything that he did. I also think Giannis. What do you have, like 21 or something?
Yeah, 20 and
19 or yeah, something like. I think Giannis scores over 30 today. He looked good to me. He looked explosive. He took that 1/3 quarter off. Fourth quarter, he got rolling. First quarter, he only shot like 4 times, just like 3 for 4, 8 points, 6 rebounds or something. I think they get him going. He looked good. I think he takes over. Yeah, the Jrue, though, I do lean over. He needs to get going for sure.
Did you guys see the play where Jay Crowder kind of fouled him kind of hard and like made him rethink coming in the paint? And like right after that, it's like you do that to an injured guy, he kind of rethinks like, maybe I don't want to go down there and bang with these guys as much.
Are you talking when he stripped it like off his knee, kind of that play?
He's like, I don't really want to get down here and bang with these guys and hurt my knee right off the bat. I think that's where he got hesitant.
Yeah, I mean, like his chase down block though, like he just sent it, or like early in the game too when he babied. I think it was baby Jay Crowder, gave him a shoulder, maybe it was beat Ayton to the spot. He had a couple dunks.
That was Ayton. He babied in the paint in the post. He just pumped him right out of the way and dunked it. It was like, oh, this doesn't look good.
Gave him a little shoulder. Like he looked way more explosive, and that knee looked. I mean, well, when you say doubtful to questionable to this, you're like, But I don't know. I think he's going to come out in the fourth quarter. He was attacking hard, getting to the free throw line, and that was another thing. He looks like he sped up his free throw shooting, but he didn't have any really bad misses. He didn't shoot too well, but I think he gets to the free throw line more. What I'm hoping 65%, as bad as that sounds, but I think the whistle is going to be a little more even for the free throws. Bucks need to foul a little less. I think Giannis gets going, and you're absolutely right, Spread. Jrue can't have 10 points. Even though he plays defense really well, he gets his peripheral stats, he still has to score the ball at the end of the day.
All right, 2 quick questions from Jake. Is Saric out? Yes. And Tyler, I'm going to start with this one. What do you guys think the Suns can do better? How many games do you think the finals will go? Especially I want to know about the Suns doing better because we talked about Crowder, right? I mean, that's a necessary improvement they can make. Also, they only shot 34% from 3, which isn't bad, but at the same time, there's potential for improvement. What else can they do better, Tyler?
I mean, I think that's the only 2 things they could really do better. They played almost like the perfect game in game 1. All the stars showed up. They shot damn near perfect from the free throw line. Mm-hmm. They got every shot they wanted. We know they wanted those mid ranges off the pick and roll. They were there all night for them.
Yeah.
So I mean, other than the 3-point shooting improving and Crowder finding a shot, I don't know much else they can improve on.
Title, what do you think that the Suns can do better?
Yeah, well, for Jay Crowder, his threes were just forced. Like, he is a sit in the corner, they kick it out, they're more open. He forced a lot of his three. Like, every time he did shoot it, I was happy, and not because Jay Crowder's a bad shooter. He just was like, he was forcing a transition, a step in. Like, he didn't shoot his shots. I also think, the Suns played a very good game, so I don't know how much more they can be better. Without Saric, I expect a Frank Kaminsky to get that run, and I think Frank Kaminsky's good. That's another 3-point shooter out there that's going to get problems.
They're going to shy away from that. I don't
think they're going to go Torrey
Kaminsky.
Yeah, I think they'll go the Torrey Craig and all the minutes
at the 5.
Yeah, so more minutes for that. Yeah. So you don't think he even sees the court?
I thought he looked bad out there. I was loving those Kaminsky minutes as a Bucks backer.
Oh, I love him for sure. I just maybe Monty Williams. That's a very interesting thing for Showdown too, because I mean Frank Kaminsky I think's 1,000. If he gets Dario Saric minutes, he's gonna put up numbers. But if it's all Torrey Craig, which I do like Torrey Craig a lot, I think he's gonna. I mean, he's a good defender, get some physicalness, and then he can shoot the ball. So I am interested about that. Yeah, the Suns played really, really good though. All 3 stars showed up. Yeah, I don't really know how much the Suns can play better, make a little more open threes. But like Cam Payne played really good basketball. They just are so deep. That's the thing that the Suns have over the Bucks for sure. I mean, after the starting 5, you send Cam Johnson out there, you send Cam Payne out there. Sarge is a pretty big loss because he played his role really well. But I'd rather the Cam Johnsons, Cam Paynes than I would Bryn Forbes, Portis, who now they pick on defense. So I don't know. Yeah, Tyler would probably. And I'm also now watching this game more as like a Buck. Like I'm a little Bucks biased for sure right now. So that question,
I am too.
Yeah. So that question would, but they played a very good basketball game. I think if all 3 stars show up again, they're going to be a tough team to beat for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we get the same performance from the big 3 of the Suns tonight, it's going to be a tough road for the Bucks to overcome. But as we talk about regressing to the mean, I mean, that was a top performance from Tyler. The 2 props that I like, and I went on the Bucks side because, hey, I'm Team Bucks today. I like the over for Holiday at 19.5 at plus 100. Also, I like a Pat Connaughton over 6.5. Go ahead and break down some of these Suns players, and I'm sure you're going to be attacking some of their props tonight. So which players on the Suns should we be looking at?
I got a Bucks prop I like.
Oh, really?
We're going to take Lopez's unders because he can't play.
I should have known you go under. I should have known you go under.
I like it.
His points, rebounds, and assists is set at 19.5.
Okay.
The dude ain't getting no assists. The dude's probably grabbing 5 rebounds at that, depending on how much he plays. So we're banking on him not scoring 12 points.
Right.
I'll take that chance.
You're banking on Coach Bud again. Watch him roll him out there for 30 minutes, and that'll tilt you even harder.
I'll take the loss, but if that's the case, then the Suns are going to win, and the second prop's going to run home. Because we've seen a lot of Jrue Holiday on Devin Booker in Game 1. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like a Coach Bud spot here after watching CP3 go for 32 to just sell out everywhere else to stop CP3. Probably.
I'd rather them stop. Booker is a bigger threat. I hope. I know what you're saying.
It's definitely a bigger threat, but it seems like he's going to throw Jrue Holiday all over CP3 today. Booker shot 8 for 21 last game, 1 for 8 from 3, and managed to put up 27.
Well, he was what? How,
10
for 10 free throws?
You made 10 free throws.
Yeah.
So I think that shot's a little better tonight. I think he cruises past 35 points. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the 40s tonight.
Title, did you have any individual props that you were going for?
Yeah, you said, I don't see it on DraftKings Sportsbook. You said Pat Connaughton was 6.5.
6.5 plus 100 here on.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. He played 28 minutes last game. I think he could. I mean, if Coach Bud's smart, which we're always talking about, I think he could be in line for 30 plus minutes. I love that. And then, I mean, I know this could be fishy. I don't know, but PJ Tucker is sitting there at 4.5. He's gonna play 30 plus minutes for sure. He was a little more aggressive. I mean, he was cutting a little bit. That's only 2 corner threes for PJ. They need him to play a lot of minutes. He's their best out there. Defense, they need him. So PJ Tucker, Pat Connaughton, I think that's the lineup they roll out a lot. And I think those two are the ones that, I mean, they're not 6.5 for Pat's way too low. 4.5, that's 2 corner threes for PJ Tucker. He can get a layup here or there. So those are my 2 favorite props.
All right. Well, because you're going to the Deer District, you will not be on the final countdown tonight, which is free, everybody. Normally, subscribers only, members only, behind the paywall. Today, free Thursday, Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, Big T, JSU, Hoop, and Draft Cheat, I believe.
Yep, I think so. I saw like 6 people on the thing. Maybe
so
Mangone.
Hoop and Draft Cheat who have been absolutely crushing baseball, and we already know what Big T and JSU do in NBA. It's going to be a combined show. Fantastic. And I'll tell you what, if you're not a member right now and you haven't been watching these rundowns and you're playing DFS, go ahead and give it a taste because the results are just fantastic. But you will not be there, so why don't you go ahead and give us some ideas of how you are going about constructing the lineup tonight. Let's just go with the DraftKings format. It seems to be a lot more popular where we do the captain and the showdown slate. So talk to me about your captain position and maybe some other role players you're looking to supplement.
So my 2 favorite captains, so we have enough value on this slate. Last slate, I played Cam Johnson at my captain spot because it was able to get me the Giannis, Booker, Chris Paul, Jrue Holiday. It got me all the stars. We're on this slate without Saric. We have Torrey Craig, who's 2.4K, who I expect to play very good minutes. Bryn Forbes is 1.8K. He's going to get minutes at the small ball. Even Bobby Portis is 3.2K. I don't think he plays too many minutes, but that's still way too cheap for the production. Some of these other guys are going to get there. Frank Kaminsky, if you do think he gets minutes, he's 1K. Torrey Craig's my favorite value. For my captains today, I'm going to roll with Giannis and Devin Booker. I think the 2 stars come out and play. I don't mind Jrue Holiday captain too because that gets you he's way less than he's 13-2 at the captain spot, whereas Giannis is 17-1 and Booker's 15K. So those would be my 3 favorite captains. I think Giannis absolutely comes out, dominates. I mean, he had 19 rebounds. He only shot the ball like 14 times. He didn't shoot the ball a lot, and he had the most fantasy points in the game last game. So I think he comes out and dominates. We have the value. A lot of Giannis captain. Devin Booker, I agree with what Tyler said. I think Devin Booker is the guy again today. I think he's going to be the guy every series. Chris Paul had a great game.
I was going to say, do I leave him out? Is that crazy? I can't get everybody in there.
I think tonight you leave Chris Paul out.
That's my stance too. Yep. I think people are going to go back there after the big game.
You're going to have the smartest IQ basketball player on the floor, and they're going to throw everything at him. He's going to look at Booker and go, you run the offense while they just stare at me. And then all of a sudden he's going to be red hot. They're going to try and switch to go back to cover Booker. And it's going to be too late. The rim's going to be 4 foot wide for him. It's going to look like that Lakers game.
I'm glad you guys are on the same page too. Yeah, Chris Paul is – I mean, I just think Devin Booker is the guy at the end of the day. I mean, he's the superstar. Chris Paul he's very heady. I mean, why he took over was because they were almost all on Brook Lopez. He got that free pick and roll every time. You have to think Coach Bud makes some sort of adjustments, and you don't get that matchup a lot. Devin Booker is by far my favorite Phoenix Sun. My favorite value, I agree. It is Torrey Craig, I think. 2.4K. I think he's going to have to play a lot of the Saric minutes. If we don't see Kaminsky at all, Torrey Craig has to be the biggest beneficiary there. So he makes a lot work for the value. I do like Jrue Holiday and Middleton's price too. If I had to lean one, it probably would be Middleton. But the thing is, like, Middleton's $1,000 more expensive. So, I mean, I don't hate if you don't have that money, you drop down to Jrue. But if it was a vacuum, I probably would go Middleton. So, yeah, showdown's going to be Giannis captain, Devin Booker captain, paying up all the way. If you need a little of the savings, Jrue Holiday is a little too cheap. And then the Torrey Craig is my favorite value. I don't love Bobby Portis, but he's too cheap for his role. He can play 12 minutes today, 14 minutes, and score up 1.5 fantasy points per minute, which will absolutely smash his price tag. Because when he's out there, he's a problem. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it. I think we get a good basketball game today. I think it's pretty close. I'm not going to play any blowout script or any of that. And yeah, I think it'll be fun. Did I give a direct path enough?
I mean, that's fantastic. If you can't make a lineup after hearing that, right? You gave me captains, you gave me values, and I can go ahead and just fill in my other favorite two players. If I agree with Tyler, right, and I think that the Suns continue their run, right, I'm going to fill it up with Phoenix guys. And in fact, that's what I did last game. My problem was I put Holiday and the captain on the other side, you know, and that's why making these lineups is so challenging. You go 5 of 6 on your players, right? 5 flames. No cash. And then Jrue Holiday was the captain. So
yeah. Last thing to add, like you said, that I'm going to have more Bucks in my lineup than I am Suns. I think the Bucks are more underpriced. I think the Suns just have so many body. Like Jay Crowder could have 16 points today. Cam Johnson could have 14. Mikal Bridges could have 18. They just have so many bodies in team basketball. Whereas Bucks, you know where the production is going to go most of the time. It's more concentrated. So that's how I'm going to approach it today. That doesn't mean I think Bucks are necessarily going to win. They could easily lose and 4 Bucks being the optimal with 2 Suns or something like that, just because how it all goes. So, yep, that's how I see it today. My big fade, Chris Paul. So hopefully that works out. Hopefully Bud has a better defensive scheme than last game.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where if he has got 20 in the first half, you don't even pull out your DraftKings. You start looking at the baseball for tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's funny whenever we talk about Brook Lopez, right, and these other centers. I mean, this goes back to Gortat being on the Wizards, right? But the new thing in the playoffs is you hunt the centers on the pick and roll, right? And I remember going back, you know, as my grandfather was getting old, he was 6'5", and he was actually really good at baseball. But I was going through his high school yearbook with him, and I noticed he was the center on his basketball team. And I said, "You're only 6'5". Like, how are you the center?" And he goes, "Well, back then they didn't think that anyone over 6'5". They thought they were all too uncoordinated to play. You know, they were just too slow and uncoordinated. So we topped out at about 6'5". And with these rule changes, it's like 100 years later, because this was in 1930s, right?
Yeah.
It's coming back to that where unless you are incredibly fast, it's really hard to get on the floor as a big man. I always bring up Gortat. You're right, West Coast, because it was more But you guys bag on Coach Bud. Scott Brooks allowing him to get picked on by Isaiah Thomas. It's forever burned in my memory, and because I kept betting on the Celtics and winning a lot of money. So it's just so funny how we're moving towards these centers getting played out of the game because they lack agility. So, guys, great turnout for this time. I think we might switch to this time if we're going to continue to get this many viewers. Number one, it's easier on Tyler and I. You guys know that Tyler works the night shift. You know, I'm on the West Coast, so it gives me more time in the morning to prepare. If we're going to get this many viewers and this much support, we'll switch to this for the rest of us. Go ahead and give us feedback on that. So here's the deal. We got a bunch of viewers live. You guys like the video, you guys subscribe to the channel, and we're going to give you the winners. We're going to give you the best bets, and we're going to do that right now. Title, we will start with you. You can give out the winners, and then you can head down to Milwaukee, and I'll be looking for you on TV when they cut to the Deer District.
I hope you see me. I don't know. It'll be about 20,000 deep for what I'm hearing, so should be a lot of fun. Bucks always, they don't show up game one. They haven't the whole time. I have a confidence today. My favorite prop, though, I'm going to give a prop because I think it's priced right. 4.5, I think is pretty right. Pat Connaughton, 6.5 points. I think he plays 30-plus minutes today. They need him to play small. They need him on defense to switch. He can shoot the ball. He's aggressive. 6.5 is way too low. And you said even money, too, plus 100. Favorite bet, Pat, over points at 6.5.
All right. Tyler, what do you got for us? Come rain on our parade.
I actually think the Bucks keep it close tonight, so I wouldn't lay it.
Okay.
Because I think you're just going to get that, like, almost like a back against the wall game. Like, we need to, like, show effort here. Mm-hmm. But I have a really bad feeling they're just going to leave Booker out here on an island and try and just sell out to stop Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Him to score 35 plus points in Phoenix wins plus 560 on FanDuel.
The Tyler
Is there a little
special.
lower one? Is there a 30 plus?
There is a 30 plus, but it's only plus 200.
All right.
For 5 points, I'm taking that.
I'd like to advise
3-1
split
off.
your unit. Split your unit there. 35 is a lot.
35 is a lot, but when he's taking 20 plus shots a game, and he got the 27, only making 8 shots last game, I mean, that 35 is definitely in play.
It's in play, but I'll tell you one of the reasons why, and I'm going to go ahead and get a little different, and actually I'll give out a best bet on something that we neglected to talk about. You guys give your feedback on it. I like this game to go under. This game was way paced to go under in game one, and it barely got there at the end with the deluge of scoring there in the last 3 minutes. The game paced under. Now, the Suns played faster. Chris Paul played faster, which seemed to lead into their hands. But this guy's default is to play slow, to command the pace and go for those things. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if things are tight, that he switches back to his default mode, which is slow, steady, careful. And there's nothing wrong with that from a point guard or a quarterback for that matter, right? We don't want turnovers. We don't want interceptions. So I like the under, and we didn't really talk about it. Title, would you agree with me?
Yeah, I think the under is a pretty good call. I mean, I don't think that the Suns go back to the free throw line 26 times. I mean, they were 25 for 26 with the clock off, which is a big boost for the over. If the Bucks get more free throws, it's going to be Giannis, and I mean, Giannis is you hope he makes 1 out of 2 at this point. And yeah, I mean, I don't think they can go and get the Brooks switch early in the shot clock and attack it right away for open threes. So I think under. If I had to pick a lean, it would be under. So I think that's a pretty sharp call.
Tyler, what do you think?
My only worry there is it almost looked like both teams were trying to grab the ball off the defensive glass and leave the opposing center on the other end of the court while they hurry up and get down and score.
Mm-hmm.
That game slowed down once the Suns realized that they were leaving these big guys on an island, and they would set that screen and then back up, and then that's where the slow tempo came from. I wouldn't be surprised just to see if the game stays close, you're just watching both teams just up and down the floor at 100 miles an hour.
The Bucks want to push it. I do know that.
Yeah,
I think Phoenix is going to want to slow it down, and the Bucks are going to want to use their athleticism and transition. It's just Suns play pretty good transition defense too. So, yeah, I think I never have a strong. I usually leave the over unders for you guys. I never have too strong of a lean on those. So, I like them though.
My totals are fairly simple. I love overs during the regular season, and I love unders during the playoffs.
That's fair.
Because these numbers are based off this regular season and we've talked about it before on different episodes, it's a different game. It's not officiated the same.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of these guys do you see get frustrated, go to the rim, and they get a play that would be called a foul during the 72 or 82, right, that aren't called during the 16? Right, and I think that does change the game, and it tends to more unders. Half the reason these guys don't get back, they want to sit there, right, and complain about everything, fall down, exaggerate contact, all that stuff. So, anyways, thank you everybody for hanging out. Quite the turnout here. So I think we're going to continue to go for this time slot. Title, have a great time tonight. If you guys are just tuning in right now, the best bets you like to content over, right?
Yep.
Tucker
over 6.5. Over 6.5 even money. His points. I think he plays a lot. So over Pat 6.5.
Tyler likes Suns Booker to go 35 plus and Suns to win at plus 500. And I like the under 220.5. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Looks like the next rundown won't be till next Wednesday. If you're a Run Pure Bets member, Jay and I will be live tonight, and we will also be live Sunday. And then we will be back for a show next Wednesday. So thank you everybody for hanging out. Title, have a great time tonight. Tyler, I'm sure one of us will be gloating in the DMs tonight, and I'll be sending you really wacky gifts. So thank you everybody for hanging out. Please like the channel or like the video, subscribe to the channel, and Run